forge is going to be on. It's like 30 degrees outside. Another thing is, we don't have any box steel. So what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to build our own box steel. Which means we have to take these old freaking mobile home struts and fly them out. We need to stretch it out and see if we're going to get enough steel. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go stick it in the forge. Cut this up to continue forging it flat. But we got a good section here. Who knows? This steel might be too thin. We're looking at something right around, let's see here. These are 1/8 of an inch walls. That might be too thin. All right. So we did some research, and the 1/8 inch wall is going to be good enough. Gotta be careful with it though, but it'll be good enough. I want it to be 6 inches. A 3x3 can by 6. 3x3 by 6. This piece out. So this metal came off of a mobile home frame that I have out beside the shop. I think. So yeah, it's not perfectly rectangle, not perfect 90s, but I don't care. I really don't. Only thing I care about is getting it close enough to where we're going to have enough steel. 3x3 is the absolute minimum that I want to do for this first one. the ends here first. Now we need to get it clamped. Now the most important part of this, absolutely the most important part of this, is you need to put titanium oxide, white spray paint titanium oxide on your piece so it doesn't stick. This means filling that can completely. Nice little fumes from whitening that whole inside of this can. Alright, so paint's been dry, obviously. We gotta make our quill that we're gonna put down the center of these. We know we're gonna have to do this again. We absolutely know we're gonna have to do this again. So what I wanna make sure we do is we just don't jump to the end and go, oh yeah, I think this is gonna be good, and have to backtrack. We're gonna start small and build into it, right? So we're gonna use the thinnest thickness we can for our quill material. You understand why I'm using cardboard here in a minute. So this is 3 inches-ish internal. Now, we're gonna basically get the wall thickness of our can from this marking pen. And then we need to go 6 inches down-ish. Let me just cut that out. We're gonna cut inside the black lines. I've never done this before, ever. This is just all theory crafting, practical theory crafting at its finest. It's not like I built one, I've done this whole process before. I've actually never built my own can, which this means pretty easy. And I've never done a canister this large before, but it shouldn't be too hard. I've definitely never done what we're about to do here. Now I'm gonna stick this in there, but I need to trim it down. This is gonna form our quill, or the hopes that it forms our quill, down the center of our billet. And I want it to come out, and I don't want to burn it out. I want it to come out after I get the powder in there. I also don't want it to bend. I need it relatively straight up and down-ish. This is not a highly laboratory scientific experiment here. This is basically winging it. Practical theory crafting at its best. That should be tight enough there. Relatively even on either side. And that will form our quill down the center. Now we're going to take our 1095 powder and our 4% nickel powder. Now I've got a half a can apiece of these. So I'm going to be taking 1 teaspoon, and we're going to alternate layers. 1 teaspoon. We're going to start with the 1095. Now I want it as even as we possibly can. I'm going to sprinkle this on the bottom on both sides. This might be too much going into each layer. Who knows? This is a big can. Only about a third of the way full. These are looking like it's just, we're gonna have big bands of this stuff, to be honest. Because I'm just using, there's too much. 1 full teaspoon is just too much, I think. But this is why we're doing this. Figure it out. Figure out the process here. What's gonna give us the best representation of Feather Damascus coming out of a canister? About halfway. I think it's gonna look cool. I don't think it's gonna be the end all be all. I think the layers are gonna be too thick, but I do think it's gonna look cool. We need to kind of vibrate this a little bit. The good thing is these powdered metals are different colors, so you can see a little bit, but they're just barely different shades. Like I was saying earlier, this is probably the biggest billet I've ever done. I have just enough powder to do this billet. We got some more powder ordered though. It's on the way. Okay, we're gonna attempt to pull this out without destroying our work here. Ooh, you know, I didn't think about the suction, I guess, of the steel around it. One second, let me get something. We'll figure this out. All right, we have a little persuasion. It's probably not going to do anything. Oh, there we go. I mean, that's kind of what I wanted to do. We're going to call that good. And we're going to stick our lid on our other lid on here. And then we're going to get this welded up, and we'll see you guys at the press. Real quick, I forgot something. We hammered this in. I'm going to peen over my freaking ends here to help keep this in place. It's pretty compact. But it still needs to be welded. Now we're gonna go weld this, and we'll see you guys at the press. Stopped forging because the cam was falling apart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this can off, and I know the rules say no more forging after that, but I need to get it down to 2 inches square. So you know, I'm going to forge a little bit more on it. It's done being forged. Everything we're going to do is done. So all I'm going to do is pull the can off and then get it down to 2 by 2 square. So once it cools down, I mean, this thing's just popping off, nothing's falling out. Everything looks pretty solid, pretty good. I just didn't want it to fall out while I was maneuvering it, or it fall out in the forge. So that's why we're just gonna pull the can off and get it to 2 by 2.